no other leader that I know, 4 days after that defeat, in his off time in the summer, is in his office on a Sunday morning at 6:30. And, you know, you knew when he walked into the room went quiet. There was that presence, that aura. He killed us. He absolutely killed us. Everybody loved him at the club because he protected them. And that's it. That's the secret to what he believed.
Working hard is a real talent. Anyone can play a game of football. Anyone. But practice makes you a real footballer. Nobody comes to your door and bangs on your door and gives you money. Believe me. It's important to have a discipline. You know, I think there's a core to a successful management. Failure is not a problem. How you deal with it is a problem. And if you don't deal with it, then you'll fail again. Your attitude should be, I've got my chance, I'm in this world, I'm going to succeed.
One man who has been part of the tapestry of the history of this club has won 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 10 Charity Community Shields, 1 European Cup Winners' Cup, 1 European Super Cup, 2 Champions League titles, Intercontinental Cup, 1 FIFA Club World Cup, and 13 Premier League titles. The impossible dream made possible by the greatest British manager ever, Sir Alex Ferguson.
It's a thank you to Manchester United, not just the directors, not just the medical staff, the coaching staff, the players, the supporters. It's all of you. You have been the most fantastic experience of my life. Thank you. The players, I wish the players every success in the future. You know how good you are. You know the jersey you're wearing. You know what it means to everyone here. And don't ever let yourself down. The expectation is always there. My retirement doesn't mean the end of my life with the club. I'll be able to now enjoy watching them rather than suffer with them.
The greatest coach in the history of professional sports, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Thank you.
Looks like we're the only two who got dressed this evening. So what would you do, Sir Alex, if some of this scruffy mob here showed up and were players and wanted to get on the Manchester United bus?
Well, when I was first started as a coach, everyone had to have a short haircut, all shaven. I don't know how managers allow players on the bus with a beard. That's not for me. But what I did like to see was my team coming to a ground with a United blazer on, white shirt and a tie, because they're representing Manchester United.
And what would you do if they didn't show up like that?
Well, I think it's as part of the education you have to give them, the responsibility they have as a Manchester United player. And it's just a discipline. And I think that was a strong discipline in United. That's for me. I'm sorry, you guys with the beards.
You'd recommend a shave, would you?
I wanted them to be Manchester United in terms of dress, made sure they wore the blazing flannels wherever they went in terms of away from home in particular.
And why does it matter, though? For a leader thinking, well, who cares?
Well, I think you're representing the club that way. You walk through an airport and you see the blazer, you see that badge, there's Manchester United. They're dressed right, you know?
So the first time I witnessed that was going to Switzerland in a tournament for the youth team, and we're all in our blazers, and we all got told that you're representing Manchester United, both on and off the pitch. So I want you to make sure that you behave yourself around the hotel, because people will be watching you.
What's the hairstyle that's caused the most controversy?
You tell me.
Is it the mohawk?
You know better. Probably the mohawk. Well,
how long did that last? How long did that last, the mohawk?
It lasted until the gaffer saw it, and then it had to go, and then he made me shave it in the changing room.
Whatever you do to your hair, it becomes a thing. This one, okay, what was going on here?
Yeah, that was maybe a bad decision. No, well, I don't know why I had that one. I don't. I was asked to shave it off when I first did it. I was sat in the changing room, and I had a hat on at the time because Sir Alex Ferguson hadn't seen it. So obviously that was interesting when I took my hat off, and we had an hour before the kick-off, and he said, go and shave it off.
Really?
Which I said no at first, and then I saw his face change very quickly, so I went and shaved it off in the toilet.
Oh.
So Alex Ferguson would actually be sort of strict on that stuff?
Very.
Really?
Very, yeah.
Wow. What did he expect?
It was just it was a reputation of the club.
Right.
He wanted all the players to kind of be professional, and he felt that it wasn't the right look, and I shaved it off. We were playing at Wembley as well, so he kind of had a point.
And we just saw pictures of you in Paris with him at the match, and smiling, happy. You obviously get on now.
Yeah, we get on this.
But it did get bad for a while.
I mean, it was made worse than what it actually was. You know, he was a father figure for me for so many years. You know, he brought me to the club that I loved as a kid. I played for the club. I was successful at the club with, you know, a number of other of the young kids as well that we grew up with. So he gave me everything in my career that I needed, and so, you know, he'll always be the man that I always look up to because he gave me the dream of playing for Man United.
You've seen the photograph in my office, have you? 11 guys sitting on the top of the Empire State Building. Have you seen that photograph?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen it, right? And if one fell, the other one grabbed them. Maybe 2 or 3 would die at one time just to save each other. You can't have a better example of teamwork than that, can you? So you've got to do everything for your team. That's how United have won all these things. It's not been one individual. Maybe an individual has made a difference, but the team has always been good. All worked hard. There's nothing wrong with working hard. Okay? Well done. You got a haircut. What are you putting it? Gel.
There was one photograph he had on your office wall. Let's just take a look at it. I want to know why you had it.
There you are. Every year I bring the apprentices into my office. One day I says, right, tell me, what do you think of that photograph? And I said, well, there's 11 there. There's 11 members of the team. They lost lives, and then 1 or 2 would try to save them and lost their lives through that. I says, there's no bigger sacrifice than giving your life for a team.
I remember he had this picture of 11 guys sitting in a ring, but without, how you say?
No ropes for safety.
Exactly. And it quite surprised me. When I looked at the frame, I said, wow, it's unbelievable frame. And he said, Cristiano, this is what team should do it. We should be together. We should work together. We should do it everything together if we want to win something. And he gave the example all the time because it was 11 guys in that picture. So it was fantastic memory. I remember right now in my eyes, I remember his office and this frame.
Now, there's another image you used to use quite a bit, I think.
Oh, yeah. Geese. Yeah. It's a fantastic story. It's how they fly 4,000 miles from Canada to some warm climate. They go in 2 Vs, and the ones at the front do most of the flying, then they change over. And if one goes away unwell, 2 have to look after it.
There'd be birds overhead flying, and it would be in the middle of training, and he'd stop the training, and he'd go, right, look, all up, all look, have a look up to the sky. So we'd be all looking at the sky, see them birds, and they were all in like an arrow formation. That's teamwork. You can just imagine 22 players or 20-odd players just looking up at the sky thinking, what's he going on about?
And I said to them, these geese fly 4,000 miles to get a bit of sun. All I'm asking you to do is play 38 games to win the league. I don't think I'm asking too much.
Work ethic was everything to him. Being proud to work hard, being proud of the people around you who work hard, being proud of your teammates. I used to say, look around the change room, look around, I'm proud of every single one of you, but look at each other, look at what you each do for each other on the pitch, and how you can't achieve what you're going to achieve without each other. But the work ethic is the thing. Honestly, the only thing you can ever do in life is work as hard as you possibly can and never give in. And he said, you've got that choice every single day. Really simple, that's it. The talent you've got, you just work as hard as you can every single day and never give in, and then you come back the day after and do it again. And that's it. That's the secret to what he believed. Because he said the talent is his problem. Forget talent. I've chosen you to be here, so I'm telling you you've got the talent. Don't you worry about that bit. What I need back in return is that other bit, which is the focus, the commitment, the dedication to make sure every single day you get up and you're here and you give your all and you don't give in. And that's why I think I stayed where I was, because I believed him. I trusted in him.
You have some managers that you work hard for because you fear them. And you have other managers that you work hard for because you love them. Where on this line is Sir Alex? Some people are pointing.
Can I show you a little video?
Oh, dear me.
Do you know what's coming?
No.
We're not lip reading.
I wasn't well that day.
It's not something that you want to see, to be honest with you. It's not very enjoyable. Unless it's some of the other players, it's okay if it's not you. No, it's if you made a mistake in a big game or you did something that was wrong, he would let you know. But he's very determined, very driven, wants to succeed all the time. He's great will and determination, and he's the best manager that we could have.
I remember sometimes when we do something bad or we lost some games, he kicked the chairs and he kicked the boots, he kicked everything, the waters, the drinks, and he's so red and you shoot past the ball. It's unbelievable, but it was good because we learned.
When you were playing and you were playing either Arsenal or Manchester United, which of the two, Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex, did you find the most intimidating, if either?
Well, obviously, Sir Alex. I mean, I really like Arsene Wenger. I've got a huge respect for him. I think he's got a different persona, different demeanour.
Yeah.
Sir Alex, let you know. I remember one time we played Jews up there in the dressing room. Our dressing room was near his opposite the manager's, and I remember him telling you off once.
Me?
Ferdinand, he shouted down the field. And then I saw Rio just walking along.
You walk it like that?
Down.
Were you afraid of him?
Yeah.
Were you guys afraid? Were you afraid of him?
Yeah.
Are you still afraid of him?
Yeah.
So for you, was it more fear, or was it love, or maybe both?
Both. You can smile, but you can be angry too. So let's do the right things.
Early on in my career, definitely fear. But then as the career and the relationship grew, more towards, the love aspect.
The real reason for losing your temper is because of expectation. I could never visualise us losing a game. You know, by the time I'd picked my team, done the tactics, had my team talk, I was confident we'd always win a game. But, of course, you don't win every game, that's a fact. But when they dropped below their expectation, that annoyed me most, you know?
We didn't play well, and he was shouting at me, and I thought I was one of our best players on the day. And I was thinking, oh, what are you shouting at? So I started going back at him, shouting back. And the problem is, which I failed to learn quickly, is that the more you shout at him, the louder he gets, and the more aggressive he gets, and the closer he gets to you.
The great thing about the boss was that the next day it was forgotten, and you'd be walking towards him or approaching him the next day thinking, is he going to have a go at me? And he would just crack a joke, or he would talk about the next game.
What I said to them, remained in the dressing room. I could be really angry, it could be volatile, it could be... But it was over. And the players knew that. They knew that. I never brought up again. I never held a grudge, ever in my life.
And when you heard it was called the hairdryer, did you think...
Honestly, I didn't like it at the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was a bit annoyed.
Some people who would say that in the modern day, when you're dealing with celebrities like David Beckham or star players like Eric Cantona or Cristiano Ronaldo, you talk a lot about control, and yet other people in leadership talk about servant leadership. Where are you on that spectrum of control to serving these great personalities?
I loved having them. They know they're good. My job really was to make sure that my control was not affected in any way because of the egos that these players had. They're vulnerable to a lot of things, just the same as any other human being. They want somebody to solve their problems. They want a solution. They may have an agent, they may have a banker, they may have an accountant, they may have a lawyer, but I think the manager is the best person to go to. I need them to win, so I'm going to help them as best I can.
When my daddy was sick in London, and he was in hospital, very bad, in coma.
In a coma.
And I had a conversation with him, and I say, boss, I don't feel good. And we are in a key moment in the league, in the Champions League. But I said, I don't feel good. I wanna see my dad. I said, Cristiano, you wanna go 1 day, 2 days, 1 week? You can go. I'm gonna miss you. I miss you here because you know that you are important. But your daddy is in the first place. When he told me that, I feel like this guy is unbelievable. He was the father of football for me.
I played against Man United with Porto. And the respect started when, in that Man United Porto, the first time, the opposite manager knocked in my door to congratulate my players.
Sir Alex walks in?
Yeah. And that in our Portuguese culture doesn't belong to our culture.
Looking after people. The staff loved him. Everybody loved him at the club because he protected them. He knew everybody's name. He asked about the families. He knew the families' names.
He had this unbelievable ability of remembering everyone's name. Obviously, he knows Kath on reception and the laundry girls and the chefs and the cleaners. You've got 65, 70 players. You've got to remember all the names. He knew all the names because he took an interest in what they were doing and how they were progressing. He was the top man, and if he's doing it, then everyone else should be doing it as well.
Everyone loved him there in the club. He invited everyone to come for a lunch, for a cup of tea, English cup of tea. So it was a family. It was a family with him.
Now, with all these people, or players of incredible caliber, Beckham, Ronaldo, the others that you had, what were the tools that you used to maintain discipline?
Well, I think that the most important thing is to be consistent, who you are, and don't change. And I never changed. I didn't use discipline as a weapon against players. They would be disciplined if they stepped out of line for certain reasons, maybe a silly sending off or a misbehaving outside the ground. But I never used it as a continual weapon against them. Mm-hmm. You got disciplined, it's over, we move on. And they all accept that eventually. they understand who you are. That's the most important thing, because that's the essence of being a leader. And they know who you are, you're consistent, they trust that you're right, and discipline is an important aspect of managing. There's no question. Particularly, you're dealing with very well-paid players. If you've got a discipline that's different with different people, you're going the wrong way. So my discipline was always the same for everyone. I never treated anyone any different.
We played the Champions League final on the Wednesday, we lost. We got back on the Friday. On the Saturday, I had to go and pick up my boots at Carrington, the training ground. So it was a Sunday morning. I had to go pick up my boots at Carrington, the training ground, to go to St George's Park because I was doing my A licence coaching badge. And it was my final assessment. And I went in at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd organised to meet with the caretaker, who was basically there on site all the time, to let me in. And I parked on the back, and his office light's on, and he's there in his chair. I thought, oh no, I don't want to see him. We just lost the European Cup final 4 days ago. So I drove back round the front and went in, got my boots and moved out. But he was there at Sunday morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock, the only person in the building with his light on, 4 days after we'd won the European Cup final. And he'd been in his mid-60s. And I thought, no one could live with that. That's the reason he's winning. That's the reason he's winning. Because no other manager, no other leader that I know, 4 days after that defeat, in his off time in the summer, is in his office on a Sunday morning at 6:30. And he didn't know I was coming in, obviously, and he didn't see me either. I just saw it, you could just see him in the distance. It was like, I couldn't believe it. And it just, all those sort of examples of that work ethic, they hit you every single day.
He's still hungry, he still want to win, he's still motivated to win trophies, to go to the trainings with 62 years old, 63, 64, 65. You say he's still angry, still want one more title, he still want that team play good every weekend. So this is, for me, it was a surprise.
What was Sir Alex Ferguson's greatest quality, would you say, as a manager?
As a manager, he was, in my opinion, the best. He knew every player, he knew the ins and outs of every player. He knew the way to speak to the player, how to get a reaction from them. He knew how to leave them out the team, and the player still thinking, oh, he's a great manager. I think he's the only manager who could do that, leave someone out, and then the player who he's left out feel good about it. He was incredible.
He had that skill of, have you got to put your arm around someone, or have you got to lose your temper to get the best out of them? I remember him having a go at me at half-time, and I had the sort of attitude, right, OK, I'll show him, and played well the second half. So then he quickly knew how I would respond to him losing his temper. That followed me for the next 20 years, so it was a big mistake early on. Yeah, his man management was second to none.
So what was his technique with you? How did he handle you? Because you weren't always an easy character.
No, but he knew how to get a reaction from me. There were so many times, half-time in games, I played well, and then we had players in the dressing room who hadn't played so well, and he'd always come at me and come for me, and then it'd end up a shouting match, we're shouting at each other. But he knew by doing that, he'd get a reaction from me, a good reaction on the pitch, where, for instance, if he'd done that to Nani, he wouldn't get that reaction, he'd lose the player. So he'd do it to me to get a reaction, but also he'd tell me to stop dribbling, aiming it at Nani. So he was really clever the way he done it, and he got a response from me, he got a response from the other players, and he just knew the right thing to do.
We play actually against Tottenham. We were winning like 2-0 half-time, and I came back in the dressing room, and everyone was like, wow, Pat, you're on fire. So I was like, you know, give 5 to everyone. So I remember I take my drink, and Ferguson just sat like this. When he doesn't talk for 3 minutes, he means like someone is in trouble. But I will never expect it myself, so I was like, so he looked at me, he said, Patrice, you okay? I said, yes, boss, I'm okay. He said, are you tired? So I look, I swear, Eddie, I think it was a prank or some camera, and I look, I said, I'm tired. No, he said, do you think you're playing a good game? I said, boss, I'm on fire. You know, everyone was start laughing. And he said, I swear, he gave me the hairdryer, the famous hairdryer. This is not a, you know, it's true, it exists. You're what the hell you doing? This has been the worst game you play since I signed you for Manchester United. Why you pass the ball back to Van der Sar, our goalkeeper? I said, because I didn't have any option for her. If you do that again, I take you out of the team. You're going to come and watch the game next to me? I swear, Eddie, you know, I don't like the injustice, so I stand up. He was splitting on my face. And this is an advice to young player. Never answer back to your manager in front of other player, because you should never question his authority. That's the way I am. So I was like this. So I was like, you know, ooh, I want to kill someone. So I get out of the pitch. Bap. We end up the game. We beat Tottenham 4-0. After the game, I did my shower. You know, I back. And everyone was like, Patrice, well done. That was a good game. I said, leave me alone, guys. But the next day, because I don't like, you know, the injustice. So I went to the Ferguson office. I knocked the door. He opened. Hello. Hey, son, how are you? Smiling. I swear, Eddie. I was like, sorry, boss. Oh, I am. What's happened yesterday? No, Patrice, you've been the best player on the pitch. You know, what a game, seriously. You're such a great player. And I look at him, I said, but boss, what? He said, no, Patrice. Half time, we were playing so good, but Cristiano Ronaldo was start doing some skill. We were starting disrespecting Tottenham instead of killing them. Because the fan, when they pay, when they come to the stadium, they want you to score one goal. If you can score a second, you score a second, a third, a fourth. This is the United mentality. But well done, son. So what was that? He sent a message to my other teammate, because they were like, wow, if he's killing Patrice, guys, I think we better perform. But that's the kind of relationship I have with Ferguson. But I'll be honest with you, Eddie, at the end, I was like, but boss, next time, please, tell me. Make me aware, do me a sign or something, because this one was closed. And he said, get out of my office, you FC.